A few years ago, when our kids were much smaller than they are now, Eric and I took our family to a wax museum. And we were walking through all of the different exhibits and showing our kids all of the wax sculptures of all of these movie stars and animals and interesting things. But there was this one section of the museum that we didn't want the kids to see. They were really little. One of them was in a stroller at the time. And so in this museum, they put the scary figures, these wax figures of all of the scary creatures from horror movies. They put them into this one special section. So Eric and I were curious about this section, and we wanted to go see all of these monsters and horror figures, and we just thought it would be fun. So we made this plan that one of us would go through while the other one would be in the gift shop with the kids. And then it would be the time for the other person to go through. So we would go through this area alone. So I stayed in the gift shop with the kids. We were looking around at all the toys, and Eric went through this area with all the scary figures. And he came out and he was like, oh, that was interesting. That was nice. And then it was my turn to go through. So he stayed with the kids. So I found myself walking through this area alone. And it was designed sort of like a maze where you didn't see the figures until you turned the corner, and then you would see the next monster, the next scary figure. So it started out seeing some of the old characters from the older films like Dracula, Bela Lugosi playing Dracula, or The Hunchback, or some kind of wolf figure. And, you know, they look like they were from all these old movies, Frankenstein, and they were in black and white, and they weren't particularly scary. But then as you turned each corner, you'd see a new one. So the person from Psycho, and then people from more modern movies, you know, monsters and aliens, and then it got to be more gory, and then it got to be more bloody, and the characters just kept appearing. So I would turn another corner, and there would be another one, and then another corner, and there would be another one, and another one, and they were getting more realistic looking. I found myself really scared, and it wasn't because they were real. It was because I was alone, and I was looking at all of these figures that represented darkness and fear. And I walked really, really, really quickly through the last few characters until I came out on the other side. Listen, I know what it's like to look at the darkness. I've gone through dark times myself that aren't just wax figures, but that are real. I've gone through losing people to death. I've gone through my loved ones moving away. I've gone through really painful times of people that I thought were friends betraying me, lying to me, hurting me. I've gone through abuse as well. I've gone through the darkness. And the thing is, I'm now on the other side. But in those dark times, what helped me was to know that I wasn't alone. At different times, I've had pastors, therapists, or friends that were there with me, that were, in a sense, holding my hand and saying, you know what, you got to walk through this, but you're not going to walk through this alone. Now's the time of Lent. Lent starts tomorrow with Ash Wednesday, and it's a time where we say we're not going to be afraid to look at the darkness. We're going to look at it square on, because like the wax figures, it's not going to hurt us like we think it will. It has much more power over us when we don't look right at it and name it for what it is and call it what it is. It really is quite powerless in the face of the magnitude of the power of God, including death, including sin, including grief, including abuse. I know how badly they can hurt, but when you look at it and think about it in new ways where you don't try to hide from it, then it will be revealed that much of it is smoke and mirrors, and you are loved and you are stronger than you might think. The key is to not look at this stuff alone. So if I'm your pastor, let me walk with you through this hall of the darkness. Maybe I'm not your pastor. Find somebody. Find someone you trust, a pastor, a therapist, a friend, somebody that will accompany you through these times. And more importantly, my job as a pastor is to be a symbol of the God who loves you, a symbol of the God who never leaves you. God walks with you through every possible darkness you can face. So I encourage you during this Lent to look at those things and realize that, like those wax figures, They're much less powerful than they appear to be. You are stronger. You are beloved. You have the Holy Spirit on your side. Find good friends. Find people who accompany you. Find people who can be strong for you and can remind you to keep walking, because the darkness won't last and Easter is coming. God bless you this Lent and always. Please subscribe to these videos if they're helpful. Share them with friends, and know that at Cross and Crown, we're always here for you to support you in whatever way you find helpful. Just reach out if you'd like some help and support with whatever you're going through in your life. Have a good day. Bye-bye.